The United States has already controlled Venezuela's oil resources, so why persistently confront Iran? If you think about this issue in terms of nuclear weapons, you're wrong. If you think about it in terms of religious conflicts, you're also wrong. Today, let's completely break this down. Let's start with a set of numbers. Just last week, on March 17th, the total US national debt surpassed $39 trillion. Notice this pace. It took less than 5 months to go from 38 trillion to 39 trillion. What does this mean? The United States now spends over $1 trillion annually just on interest payments, with an average monthly interest expense of $90 billion. What does $90 billion mean? It could build 900 F-35 fighter jets. This is not national debt. It's clearly a bottomless pit. Even if all of Venezuela's oil reserves were brought back, it would be like throwing a stone into this black hole. Just to hear a sound and it's gone. So what will the United States do? Can only swing the sickle towards the whole world, and the Middle East is an absolutely indispensable treasury. But you might ask, if Iran is so important, why hasn't the US taken it down after all this time? This is the key point I want to make today. Trump's current mindset is no longer just strategic, but a kind of self-inflation that disregards everything. Look at how easily the United States took over Venezuela, almost without a fight, and the resources were in hand. This easy victory has given Trump the illusion that the entire world should tremble under his tyranny. He wants to turn this sense of fear into a norm, making everyone feel that if the United States wants, it can demolish your home at any time. So you see how dramatic this recent act is. On March 23rd, Trump posted on social media saying that the United States and Iran had productive talks and that military strikes would be paused for 5 days. As soon as these words came out, international oil prices plummeted by nearly 11%. But strangely, 15 minutes before he posted, approximately $600 million worth of crude oil futures contracts were precisely sold off in the market. 15 minutes, my friends. This is exactly the same method as when someone made precise bets in the prediction market on Maduro's downfall during the US raid on Venezuela. Who knew the news in advance? Who is using war information to harvest the market? The answer is self-evident. Now, the United States is not just fighting a military war, but an insider trading war using information asymmetry. So why specifically Iran? Because Iran is touching America's lifeline. Iran holds the world's 4th largest oil reserves and the 2nd largest natural gas reserves. More crucially, it controls the Strait of Hormuz, a major global energy artery. That's not the most critical issue. What keeps the United States awake at night is that Iran has been leading the push to de-dollarize oil trade using local currency settlements. This is like digging up the grave of the Petrodollar System. What is dollar hegemony? It is the money printing machine that the United States uses to harvest the world. Whoever touches this machine, the United States will fight them desperately. But here's the problem. As this war drags on, the script has started to go off track. A harsh reality is in front of us. If the war becomes prolonged, the United States might get bogged down. Referring to the Iraq War, military expenses would increase the total federal expenditure by about 3%, either by cutting other spending or issuing more US debt, further triggering an economic crisis. The Pentagon has already requested an additional $200 billion in military spending, but Congress has not approved it. However, Trump says this is a small amount, but the American public does not think so. 90% of Americans believe that debt is driving up their cost of living. So you see, Trump's current actions are particularly contradictory. On one hand, he is stubbornly holding on in the battlefield, while on the other hand, he is eager to negotiate and withdraw gracefully. Because if the fight continues, not only will the petrodollar not be preserved, but the cracks in the dollar's credibility will also grow larger. Connecting this with a few other recent events, a clear chain of plunder emerges. The first event is America's latest move against TikTok. At the beginning of March, the United States, citing national security, demanded that ByteDance divest TikTok's US operations within 45 days, or face a complete ban. Note this timing, as it coincides with the US Treasury's urgent need for funds to fill gaps. Ostensibly for national security, in reality they have their eyes on this lucrative asset. TikTok's monthly active users in the US exceed 1. Annual revenue is close to $20 billion US. This is not regulation, this is blatant robbery. The second thing is the harvesting in the virtual currency field. Chinese billionaire Zhao Changpeng, you thought changing nationality and moving overseas would make you safe, but you were still heavily fined by the United States. In early March, the US Department of Justice was still investigating Binance for allegedly helping Iran evade sanctions. What is even more shocking is that, according to the latest report from an on-chain data analysis company, from the year 2022 to 2025, the United States has cumulatively seized global virtual currency assets worth over $30 billion through various cases, bringing in tens of billions of dollars each year. This is not law enforcement. This is the house taking all. The third matter is something all Chinese people should be wary of. The Asian subcategorization policy implemented in some parts of the United States labels Chinese separately. A civil rights organization in California has openly opposed it, saying it is a means of increased surveillance. History has long sounded the alarm. Targeted identification is often a prelude to targeted control and plunder. Connecting these events, you will find that suppressing Iran is to control the energy lifeline and protect the dominance of the dollar. Harvesting overseas assets is for directly plundering tangible wealth. Tightening taxes and regulations is for targeted exploitation, shifting domestic crises. The once beautifully packaged democracy, freedom, and rule of law has now completely torn off its disguise, revealing a greed that has lost all restraint. Many people have blind faith in that green card, thinking that changing their identity will ensure their livelihood. But today, this harsh reality tells you that in the face of a hegemonic country's national harvesting, personal wealth and foreign identity are all extremely fragile. There is never an absolute safe haven in this world. The so-called safe haven is just one that hasn't been harvested yet. When the knife is raised, it is never the promises of other countries that can protect you, but your increasingly strong homeland behind you. We do not provoke trouble, but we are not afraid of it. We do not bully others, but no one should think they can bully us like before. The world order is being reshaped, and the decline of unipolar hegemony is already evident. See the truth behind this round of global harvesting and recognize the risks behind those protective charms. Only then can you hold your ground in turbulent changes. Finally, I share a sentence for mutual encouragement. In this era of change, true security is not that foreign card in your hand, but the nation standing behind you.